And we move north of the state of Washington. And he's going to start 7th on the field in the J.R. Edgett Tribune Timber and Bud's Poultry Ford Thunderbird from Victoria, British Columbia, 95, Lance Wade. He'll start 6th on the field in row number 3 in the outside in the Napa Martin Sr. Madcap Chevrolet Monte Carlo from Alberta, California. Running the top 10, number 16, Bill McAnally. Bill, you kissed that wall in practice. Is going to be okay if you got it all sorted out.
Yeah, the crew did a real good job and got the Napa Martin Sr. car squared away. We qualified 6th, but being busy fixing the car, I missed the driver's meeting, so we're going to start from the back and just take our time, work our way up.
All right, good luck, and a nice qualifying effort after that. Here's a gentleman that starts his 104th race for the Winston West. He's a 1979, 1980, 1981, and 1988 champion. He's won over $330,000. He's coming back now to race with his son with 15 career wins. Please welcome from Victoria, British Columbia, Roy Smith. Well, Roy, if you don't start it with A, I won't know it's you. Is this going to be a thrill to race against your son, a 4-time champion? You absolutely didn't lose a thing. We watched you out there. You're doing a super job.
Well, actually, that was the thing that was concerning me the most, just how would I perform, you know. But I'm really fortunate, you know, Alpine Disposal got behind us out of Victoria and helped us out in the Beetle family. You know, Dick Midgley brought a good car here for me. I feel quite comfortable in it, and I think it's going to make me look a little better than I am. I know I'm not that sharp right now, but maybe by the end of the race I'll be a little bit more competitive.
You bet. It's a 09, Roy Smith. One of our top runners, and he's in the Cinema Vehicle Services, Unical, and Craig and Auto Parts Pontiac Grand Prix. Please welcome out of Saugus, California, 07, Sean Woodside. Sean, it's about time for you in Victory Lane, isn't it? Lots of second places and up there in the points.
I don't know. Gary brought his dad with him. I've been finished second to him the last couple races, but it should be fun, and we get to race with a legend.
That's super. Sean Woodside, he'll run tough for you in the 07. We move to the inside of row number 2, our current point leader. And he drives a Strop Motorsports Pro Insulation Ford Thunderbird from Anaheim, California, Butch Gilliland. Butch, you got a daughter with a birthday. It'd be a great present, but you got 2 of those Smith boys. You going to work them over?
Yeah, you know, I've raced here with Roy back, it's been 8 years ago when we run the 500s here, and then he's a cagey old devil, but they'll be chasing him, and also Gary's been running real good here. But we got a car to beat him. We got the Ford running really good, and Hoosier Tires give us a good tire for here.
You'd like to leave here as the point leader. Good luck, and of course, $2,500 bonus, the man that leads points after this race. Butch Gilliland from Anaheim. Your front row made his first start in a Winston West car. And he set it on the front row in the Monaco Enterprises Chevrolet Monte Carlo. He's raced here before with us out of Spokane, 85, Kevin Richards. Kev, a great run, first time in that 3,400-pound car.
I don't know what to say. It seemed a little bit heavy, but we'll see if we can make it to the end of this deal.
Well, you got a lot of guys behind you that ran a long time, but that's a good qualifying speed. If you got a little bit more left in it.
Well, I'm probably scared enough I can run away from him.
All right, Kevin Richards, he'll start on the outside. And here our current leading rookie for 1997. He has 2 main event wins for 1997. Currently 3rd in point. I should say 2nd in points in the Tootsie Toy Rabanco Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Part of the father-son team, and boy, he's going to follow in some tough steps, but it looks like he's up to it. Out of Malahat, British Columbia, on the pole, 45, Gary Smith. Gary, been with you lots of times. Of course, you have the experience on the track. One more time you've been, I should say 2nd time you've been in one of these cars. How about the 5/8, and how about that man behind you, Roy Smith?
You know, I really love this racetrack. I consider it my home track. I've got to thank Bob Beetle. Just a great facility. Mickey Beetle, they do a real superb job. Thank all you fans for coming out tonight, and hopefully we can put some more in for the next year's race.
Well, you've been up over 200 miles an hour 2 weeks ago at California. A little bit different, about 140 miles an hour. How do you handle that?
You know, I really like that California Speedway, but I just don't have enough experience in them speeds yet. It feels nice to come home and get back down to reality.
Okay.
All right, we're set to go. Gary Smith on the pole. Coors Light 200. Let's get it on.
Gary has been impossible to work with. Yep. I apologize.
And we have Scott Norrell is here. He's going to do the magic words once we get the guys locked up. And where's my man? Right here. If you'll wait for Scott.
I got you. Gotcha. 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 Matter of fact,
very appropriate under the Coors Light 200 that we have our Coors area representative, Scott Norrell, and he will utter those oh-so-famous words.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Thank you, Scott.
And they fire them up right now. We'll get set to go. Thrill Thunder, 700 horsepower. 3,400, 3,500 power. They're shot on the losers. They're shot on the good years, and they are set for 200 on Coors Light 200. Live and direct right here on final day of Speed Week 1997 at Evergreen Speedway. Our third day of racing. Culminated with the granddaddies of them all. The good old boys from the Winston West. The best around. Same with Winston Cup cars there on the West Coast. We'll be set to go in just a few moments as Pontiac on page 1 right now from Nascar as Pontiac goes second.
The tire rule is they are allowed to change one per corner under yellow, but only 2 per stop under yellow. So in other words, only 2 tires, each stop under yellow. Under green, they can change as many of these tires as they want. There is no quota on tires tonight, so that's going to be a bit different than normal.
Thank you, Scott. Let's make our way around the horn here. Dave Pilot also doing some pit work. Dave, from your vantage point, what will we see? And your thoughts on the Coors Light 200?
David, we'll go back to you and up the front. We'll set her on for more time to come by in that front row. The first one, Gary Smith, the 85 of Kevin Rickard. Row number 2, 38, Winston West. 3 of telling us 2 more laps to go behind the Pontiac Grand Prix, the official race car for NASCAR. Gary Smith in the Bill Strouser car up front. He shot on the Goodyears, and he has a 9-to-1 engine, so he's 3,400 pounds. Kevin Richards alongside, also on Goodyear's. He has the high compression engine, weighs 3,500 pounds. Butch Gilliland on Hoosiers in a 9-to-1 car. Sean Woodside on Hoosiers in a 9-to-1 car. So the front row made up of Goodyear's, the second row made up of Hoosier tires, and we'll give the rest as we go, as it's about equal between Hoosiers and Goodyear in the tire war, but the big war is out front for the Coors Light 200. Our starter, the official starter for NASCAR, Winston West, Mr. Jackie O'Neill. He hails out of Tacoma, Washington, does a tremendous job. You're going to enjoy it. Our tech inspector is Mike Verlotti. And our race director, Mr. Gib Repass from Bremerton, Washington. It's now in the officials' hands. He says the next time around, the lights should go off on the Pontiac pace cars. We get set to go. Terry, it's going to be a tremendous show. Lights are off. 200 laps ahead of us.
It certainly is. And the flagman, one of the most colorful flagmen you can watch. And it's just a joy to stand and watch him do his job. He does it with great enthusiasm up in the flag stand.
23 years experience for Jackie O'Neill, and we are set to go. Up front, Roy Smith and Kevin Richards for the first time in a Winston West car, and sits on that point. Right behind him, our current point leader, Butch Gilliland in the 38, and Sean Woodside in the car that Lance Hooper won the championship in last year with the same crew. We'll see if he's got one now. 3 second-place finishes, no wins yet. There are only 3 drivers in the field that have won at, I should say, this year. So we'll be set to go. The man with the most wins at Evergreen coming back to race after a 7-year hiatus, and that's Roy Smith. We'll watch the KG veteran out of Victoria, British Columbia the entire time. You're live right here at Evergreen Speedway and on KRKO Radio. The green flag waves. Roy Smith dives back in, but it's going to be Gary Smith into turn number 1. Right behind him comes the 38 of Butch Gilliland. Roy Smith in spot number 3 as he picked up 2 spots. Now he gets a challenge from the 85 who has dropped back. Richards from the first row has dropped into spot number 4. Young Gary Smith powers out. The Canadian takes it across, leads lap number 1 into turn 1 and Terry Buell.
Gary Smith with the advantage, about 3 car lengths over Butch Gilliland. He fades back, then a little bit equal distance back to Roy Smith in the 09 down the backstretch. They are now under the lights at Evergreen Speedway. Now problems in turn number 1 for the 22 car of St. James Davis. About the same place he had problems in qualifying earlier. St. James Davis stops sideways, showing the 22 numbers as the field comes by under caution already, lap number 2. St. James Davis able to get his car restarted and out ahead of Gary Smith as Gary Smith takes the caution flag on lap number 2. Tucked in behind him, the 38 of Butch Gilliland, and in third is the 09 of Roy Smith.
In single file order. One more time, they say the lights are off on the Pontiac pace cars. Pontiac builds excitement for NASCAR. This is the Winston West, the year at Evergreen. We're happy to have you aboard. And if you have your radio, if you're listening at home, you're on KRKO Radio 1380 AM on your dial as we bring you each and every lap of the entire Coors Light 200. Thanks to our good friends from Albertson Supermarkets also for their cooperation and sponsorship of this event. And what a special, special thing, Terry, is we had the 100 still here of the Special Olympians. A lot of proceeds and the big check going from the Beetle family and also other people and the Albertsons people. A big check to our friends from the Special Olympics.
Terrific, terrific charity. Would love having them here. Proud to be a part of it.
You bet. All right, we are set to go. Jackie says slow it, slow it, slow it. Young Gary Smith takes it out of turn number 4, puts it on the pedal, jumps out quick right behind the 38 car. That is Butch Gilliland, and then Roy Smith. Also up is Lance Wade. So you've got 3 Canadians and 1 American tucked into spot number 2 as they go down the back chute. In spot number 5 will be Kevin Culver. He's got a challenge now as Larry Gunselman gets underneath, has to back off. Checks up momentarily. Now we will get back in full song out of turn number 4. We complete lap number 10. We're in green with Gary Smith, your leader.
Into turn 1, Gary Smith, about a 2-car length advantage over Gilliland and Roy Smith. Those 3 cars, 1, 2, 3 up front. A little bit farther back it is to Lance Wade as they've broken away just a bit then by the number 25 of Kevin Culver. Culver has staved off the hard charger right in behind him. That is the 37 car of Larry Gunselman. He tried to move on the inside last time by in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Not making it work this time. By Gary Smith continues to lead Butch Gilliland and Roy Smith. Those 3 out front down the backstretch they are. Lance Wade trying to reel in those front three as they go towards turn 3.
And now 3 cars start to break away from the 4th place car of Lance Wade. Gary Smith takes it out of turn number 4. He'll complete lap number 12. 200 make up the distance for the Coors Light 200. Smith, very smooth, the youngster out of Malahat, a former karting champion, and went on to win several championships in the IMCA Nascar Grand American Modifieds. A challenge for spot number 2 right now, Terry, as we watch Roy Smith, the veteran, tucked right in behind the point leader for the series, and that's Butch Gilliland. Gilliland with 2 victories this year takes it out of turn number 4 and down the chute. Roy Smith down an inside move. He will stay with him. The ripple strips inside now. It's the Smiths a pair. Into spot number 2 goes Roy Smith. It's Gary Smith, Roy Smith, Butch Gilliland, and Lance Wade.
You could have slid a card in between him as he just fit his car on the inside. Never even got down into the grass in turns 1 and 2. Made the pass cleanly. Flares out wide out of turn 4. Back to the stripe. Here comes Gary Smith. Here comes Roy Smith. A pair of Smiths up front, and Roy Smith looks to be reeling in Gary awful fast.
Well, that's going to be very interesting. He certainly is. He's about a car length and a half, maybe 2 car lengths behind. Gilliland has dropped back about 8 car lengths as the Smiths on a charge. It must be like riding a bicycle, Terry, because he didn't forget anything he learned in 4 championships for the Winston West. They're out of turn number 4, and they'll come up some back markers right now and complete lap number 15. Your leader into turn 1 as he goes to the outside to get around St. James Davis. It's Gary Smith. Right on the back bumper goes Roy Smith. Gets the draft down the long back chute as they are up to about 145 miles an hour. Then anchor it hard into turn number 3. It's Gary Smith, Roy Smith. Then a ways back as the 38 car Butch Gilliland is going to get a challenge here momentarily from Lance Wade, the youngster in the Thunderbird out of Victoria, British Columbia. We've completed 16 with Roy Smith and Gary Smith. I should say Gary and Roy, 1 and 2.
They go around Eddie Oak. Oak, the back marker now on the inside, keeps his car low as they come out of turn 2. Gary Smith has picked up the pace a little bit, separates himself from Roy, his dad, by about 5 car lengths now. Out of turn 4, Gary Smith keeping Roy in the mirror. There is the back marker of Eddie Oak in between him and the 3rd place car, and that will be the 38 of Butch Gilliland. He tries the inside, then has to go around the outside of Eddie Oak, and tucked in behind him will be the number 95 of Lance Wade. Wade now not trying to go to the inside of Eddie Oak, and Oak not really picking a great line out of turn 2. And Lance Wade has to get on the binders, finally clears him on the outside.
Eddie Oak, a former SCCA driver and making his first Winston West start, citizen of Korea, the first one to run in a NASCAR series event, and finding out what happens with 3,400-pound cars.
Also, the 1988, he competed in the Olympics in 1988 in swimming for Korea.
Yes, he did, the 50 and the 100, but now he's on the big 5/8 as we're watching a chance for a change of the lead. Roy Smith up underneath, backs off momentarily. He takes the red Midgley 09 right up behind his son and now pushes him around the 17. Inside move, Roy Smith. Now up behind the back marker, they'll split the difference. Inside, outside, Gary Smith goes back to the lead on the outside. Wow, your dad chasing you. Remember when you borrowed the car? Well, this one's even faster because he wants him home. Roy Smith, one more time, will challenge Gary Smith across the line to complete lap number 20. Beautiful run.
A great run. It'll be interesting to find out if traffic is really going to come into play. Roy Smith with all that experience in traffic. Gary Smith obviously with not as much experience in traffic. That's the guy that taught him, tucked in right behind him. He fades back about 3 car lengths now. Butch Gilliland also clears back marker and is looking to reel in Gary and Roy. He is about 5 car lengths back as they come out of turn 4 and back to the stripe. It'll be 21 down in the Coors Light 200. Back to 4th place will be the 95 of Lance Wade, and then tucked in behind him will be the 25 of Kevin Culver. That's your top 5 right now in the Coors Light 200. Down the backstretch goes Gary Smith. Roy Smith about 2 car lengths behind him and another back marker up ahead of him in the middle of turns 3 and 4.
A long way back to Butch Gilliland in 3rd, and even farther back to Lance Wade in the 4th spot. He's going to get a challenge from Kevin Culver. Each time Roy Smith makes a move as they go into turn number 1, there's a car they have to get around. This time it is the number 8 car of Lou Miller out of Yakima, Washington. We saw going to the pits earlier. We'll get a report from Dave Pylan pretty quick on the 6th of Pappy Pryor, the 66-year-old youngster out of Priest Lake, Idaho. We'll go down now to Dave Pylan.
Thanks, Gary. Pappy Pryor pulled in. The hood is up on the number 6. Something wrong in the engine. They don't know quite what it is yet, but Pappy pulled in, and that's what he told them, so they're checking it out right now.
And we also, from some of the drivers' reports, as Glenn has went through the bits, that the Goodyears run very fast to begin with, and they start to back up a little bit, and then the Hoosiers. So our two front cars, both on Goodyears, and then we see that Butch Gilliland on the Hoosiers. We'll see if that's going to play for him or not.
And we'll check to see what Roy Smith is on. He's on the Hoosier tire. Is that right? Roy Smith started on Hoosiers in this event tonight?
No, he's
Goodyear.
on Goodyear.
Goodyear, okay.
Goodyear. The Hoosier goes to the 38 car of Butch Gilliland. Kevin Culver has moved into spot number 4 as he got around Lance Wade. And now Larry Gunselman also going to challenge for spot number 5, where the youngster out of Victoria, British Columbia sits, and that is Lance Wade in the 95. J.R. Edgett, Ford Thunderbird. We have two Chevrolets up. I should say we have a Chevrolet and a Pontiac up front, and then a Ford Thunderbird, then another Chevrolet, as all the manufacturers getting a chance to display their wares out here today. A great run for that championship of the manufacturers. You said earlier, Terry, with Chevrolet just barely out ahead of the Ford Thunderbird. And of course, most of the Ford Thunderbirds we see going into pit now. 56 of Eddie Oak. So he's going very slow, and he'll be in the pit into one of our reporters, and that's Dave Hyland and Scott Ellsworth.
Good fifth place battle going on right now. Lance Wade in the 95. Tucked in behind him is the 37 of Larry Gunselman, looking low down the backstretch. They sail. They are a ways back from the leaders, but a good position battle nevertheless. Tucked in behind them is the number 12 car of Dan Obrist. A three-way battle as they come out of turn 4 and back to the stripe. Trying the inside move is the 37 of Larry Gunselman. He makes it stick as they make their way into turn 1 on the inside. He'll make the pass, and in right behind him, Dan Obrist takes advantage of the inside groove, clears the way, covers the door, down the backstretch they sail. He takes the position away from Lance Wade.
We're down to Scott and Fitz.
Well, we see the 56 of Eddie Oak on pit road. They are bending sheet metal back away from the left front. He has come in contact with something or someone out on the racetrack.
And the battle now for spot number 2 as Butch Gilliland on the Hoosier shod car, the Ford Thunderbird, the Strop Motorsports, has caught Roy Smith. We're about 3 to 4 car lengths back of his son Gary Smith, who still leads. The 22 going in with a flat right rear tire. That is St. James Davis out of West Covina, California. We are going to complete lap number 29 across the paint. 200 make up the distance. It's Coors Light 200 at Evergreen Speedway.
Roy Smith in a second place battle now with Butch Gilliland. Butch has caught him, and the Hoosier tires have warmed up and are doing their job as Roy Smith has faded back about 10 car lengths from Gary Smith. Smith now makes his way out of turn 4 and back to the stripe. It'll be 30 down this time by in the Coors Light 200, and Roy has a battle on his hands as Butch Gilliland looks to the outside that time. Roy Smith takes his car down inside in turn 1, now up about a car length as he opens the door for Butch Gilliland. Nothing there, though, as they come out of turn 2. Hard on the loud pedal down the backstretch. It's a battle for second, Roy Smith and Butch Gilliland.
And Gary Smith with 9-to-1 engine, so he weighs 3,400 pounds. Also, a 9-to-1, 3,400 pounds for Gilliland in the middle in the high compression engine, and 3,500 pounds is Roy Smith. And they've now dropped back about 5 car lengths from our leader, Gary Smith. He led wire to wire at Tucson, Arizona for a victory this year. He'll see if he can do it one more time. He certainly is the class of the field this time as he has pulled away now to about a 10 car length lead. The 25 car of Kevin Culver, he is caught up to the back. A great run by the youngster out of Portland, Oregon. He also is on the Hoosier tires, and they start to come in right now. Very interesting on this tire battle as Culver has caught Roy Smith and Butch Gilliland.
Culver, you're exactly right, as the Hoosiers have done, and apparently doing exactly what everyone's thought that they would do, as Culver brings the AC Nutter Chevrolet right into the battle there for third place. And Smith backing up a little bit now, Gary, about 5 car lengths, 6 car lengths. He's lost a couple of tenths each lap in the last 3 or 4 laps, although he shows good acceleration at the end of the speedway. At the end of the straightaways, I should say. It looks like his motor really kicking in on the high RPMs at the end of the straightaways.
He still pushes clean air down the back chute. He goes high to the banking and maintains that 8 to 10 car length lead over his dad, Roy Smith, in the 09 Reg Midgley Pontiac Grand Prix. It'll be about a lap or a lap and a half before they get up to some back markers, and there's lots of seesawing going on, and that's between Nordling along with the 16 of Bill McAnally. And on the outside of that group, the 23, the youngster, 20 years years old, Brandon Ash out of Umpqua, Oregon. They're just ahead of our leader, and he should gather them as they go into 3. We've got one into the wall.
Eddie Oak with a problem high up into the loose stuff as he went into the turn, trying to stay out of the way of the battles in behind him. They came by to clear him on the inside. He got sideways and backs it into the wall down there right in the middle of turns 1 and 2.
Down to Dave Byland in the pits.
Thanks, Gary. I was just talking to the Eddie Oak crew, and that's what they said. He's got a little bit of inexperience, as this is his first race. The first time he went into the pits, he went down too far, grabbed some of the ripple strips, and that bent some of his fiberglass. The wheel was okay, but you just saw what happened again as he went up to move out of the way of the leaders.
And down to Scott.
All right, well, we just checked in with your front runners.
All right, thank you, Scott. Great reporting. It's a great time for us to take a 2-minute break. You're listening to the Coors Light 200 from Evergreen Speedway on News Talk 1380 KRKO. Up-down cars will come to the inside. As they make their start, Gary, the lap-down cars do get to come to the benefit of going up front in the inside line to try and gain their lap down back.
Yes, they do.
Put Scott Ellsworth in the pit.
Well, let's bring you up to date on McAnally. I said they were up under the hood. The reason they're up under the hood, they got a throttle that's sticking. They're trying to find the problem. They still don't think they have the problem solved. So this could be a long stop the next time in if they cannot get that throttle unstuck on McAnally.
Probably happened from that accident that they had earlier in practice as he went up against the wall. They got it fixed again. He had a good qualifying. And then a problem, we're back to green. Big jump this time by Gary Smith. Roy Smith runs second. Now Gilliland up to challenge. They cool those tires down. We'll see if the Goodyears come back at all. But Gilliland gives him a little nudge, lets him go. Scratch and sniff, no problem. Already into 3 is Gary Smith, and now entering turn number 3, the 09 of Roy Smith and the 38 of Butch Gilliland. Back a little ways to Kevin Culver. They'll flash across. We complete 40, 160 laps to go, Terry.
That's right, the Coors Light 200. Gary Smith, a great jump that time. And Roy Smith has got Butch Gilliland all over the back of him. Give him the business last time by. This time Butch Gilliland out of turn 2 looks to the inside. Roy Smith a little bit faster down the straightaway. In the compression motor, Gilliland all over in his mirror. Then further back it's Culver in the 25 off of turn 4 and back to the stripe. Will be 41 down on the Coors Light 200. Line in 5th place right now is the 37. 37 of Larry Gunselman doing a great job back there in 5th as they get strung out for positions right there. The 07 also in the fray, and that is Sean Woodside keeping his car down to the inside, looking to get by the 37 of Larry Gunselman. Dave Pilot.
The Eddie Oak crew's definitely got their work cut out for him for the first-time driver. He's back into the pits. They got some problems. They changed one left rear tire, and they're working on the front control arm of his front left side tire. So they'll try and get him back out for some more seat time.
Not a great start for the first-time runner from Korea, and that's Eddie Oak. Not like swimming the Olympics, but we've got our leader into turn number 3 and out of turn number 4. Sets it high, lets it just drift up. Clean air ahead of him all the way. Completes lap number 43. Gary Smith. Then across the stripe, Roy Smith. And boy, they are packed in behind. That is a great battle with 5 cars for spot number 2. In spot number 2, the 09 of Roy Smith. Then the 38 of Butch Gilliland. Back to the 25 of Kevin Culver. 37 goes Larry Gunselman and Sean Woodside, and they are stacked up right behind. Now to the outside. A move by Butch Gilliland around Roy Smith. He'll take it wide out of turn number 4. He's got spot number 2 across the stripe. 44 laps down, Gary Smith, and second spot now, Butch Gilliland.
They're 1-2 in points, but not how they are on the track. Smith coming into this race second in points, Butch Gilliland first in points. Now Gilliland got around Roy Smith. Roy Smith holding up that pack of cars. That's why such great racing was happening behind him. Meantime, Gary Smith liked to see that in his mirror as they got held up behind him. Now, already making away trouble out of turn number 4. Roy Smith sideways in front of those cars going for position, but the veteran regains control of his car and an excellent control of his cars. He comes down to turn 1. He only loses 1 position, and that's to the 07 of Sean Woodside.
Sean Woodside on the move as he started towards the back after an early pit stop under the yellow and then back into the fray, and now runs third on the field. Will try to set sail after the 38 car of Butch Gilliland. Across the stripe for lap number 46 goes the 45 of Gary Smith out of Malahat, British Columbia. Spot number 2 is the 38, and that is Butch Gilliland. It's a long distance between first, second, and third as they are stretching out down the back chute.
The 4th place battle does heat up. That's Roy Smith and the 25 of Kevin Culver in behind him as Culver looks for a way around. In behind Culver, the 37 of Larry Gunselman. They are strung out like a freight train in behind him. Dan Obrist also up in there in his number 12 black car as he pulls it in behind the number 37 of Larry Gunselman. Then Lance Wade also trails that group, and the 00 car lapped down right now on the track as Scott Gaylord is at the back of that line. Down the backstretch they go. The battle is for fourth place as first, second, and third are separated by equal distances of about 10 car lengths as they make their way back to the stripe. It's Gary Smith and 48 laps down.
As the crew said, the difference in the tires and that Goodyear running very well for Gary Smith, but then it's back to Hoosiers for the 38 of Butch Gilliland and also Sean Woodside running third. They're starting to come in there at 48 laps, working on lap number 49. They'll pit anywhere from 80 to 100, try to go the entire distance. Of course, it depends on the tires, how they use them, and they'll come across the stripe to complete lap number 49. Gary Smith, your leader.
Smith's enjoying his cruise so far, maintaining that 8 to 10 car length advantage just like he did over Roy Smith earlier. Meanwhile, Butch Gilliland looks in his mirror and finds the hard-charging Sean Woodside as he reels in Butch Gilliland. Entering the turn 3, really gained some distance there, about a car length every time they go into turn 3 and into turn 1. He seems to have the advantage entering the turn there as he moves up to threaten to take the second position away from Butch Gilliland. Now right up on the rear bumper of Butch Gilliland in turns 1 and 2. Down the backstretch, he'll look to the inside.
And Sean Woodside still puts that charge on. Former track champion at Saugus Speedway in Saugus, California. A flat track with the water running to the outside, absolutely true on a parking lot, so he knows how to drive that. That's the crash and bang style, but he is very smooth. The same car that Lance Hooper won the championship with, puts his nose right underneath that 38 car Gilliland. Gilliland protects it, closes the door cleanly, and they go down the back chute. They both caught up about 4 car lengths to Gary Smith, our leader. Now Smith has traffic, 4 cars ahead of him. He gets to the outside of Pappy Pryor, floats it out of turn number 4. Now there's 2 abreast. He'll have to choose inside, outside. He looks in the middle, not enough room. Ducks inside, gets right in behind. Underneath, Nordling. Then he goes to the outside of the 22 of St. James Davis. Beautiful move. The rest of the cars now go to the outside as they string them out. So Gary, with a little bit of a problem, has now moved out to another 6 car length lead. It could be even 8 as he has the 8 car right ahead of him, Lou Miller out of Yakima, Washington. He'll put him down a lap of the field as he'll flash across to complete lap number 53 into turn 1 with Gary Smith, your leader.
Butch Gilliland maintaining second in his Ford Thunderbird, but it's the Pontiac Grand Prix of Sean Woodside. Looks to the inside of Lou Miller, then thinks better of it. Goes to the outside as Butch Gilliland goes around the outside of Lou Miller. Sean Woodside decides that that was the best way around. He fades back in, goes around Lou Miller. Out of turn 4, they come back, and Gary Smith seems to be losing a couple car positions, but that might have just been traffic as he does maintain about 8 car lengths as Butch Gilliland has to worry about Sean Woodside in his mirror as well as trying to catch up with Gary Smith. The 4th place battle right now on the track is a ways back to the 25 car of Kevin Culver as he's got a string of cars strung out behind him.
Culver has dropped off the pace, Terry, just momentarily, and then behind him, the 37 of Gunselman and the 09 of Roy Smith. So Smith's tire is probably going away, and the veteran will save what he has until he gets a yellow flag or has to go in about lap 100 for new tires if that's under a green condition. We're under green. We've got 2 yellows on lap number 2, and on lap 34, we're now in lap 55, working lap number 56, and we are green and going for the Coors Light 200 Evergreen Speedway.
Well, back in the positions battle that's going on in 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, that's Roy Smith. He's got him stacked up behind him. It's Obrist. Lance Wade right in the fray behind Obrist. As they follow Smith through the lap traffic, that would be the 6 car of Pappy Pryor. He maintains that inside groove, and in behind him, the 00 car of Scott Gaylord. As the cars make their way around the back markers down the backstretch, they get stacked up down in turn 3 in behind the 22 car of St. James Davis. Out of turn 4 and back to the stripe. The move of a flag up in the stand as they flash by the stripe one more time. And now there is a battle heating up for that position. Kevin Culver in 3rd, and right in behind him is the 37 of Larry Gunselman making a good run.
And now, 4th position, underneath goes Sean Woodside. Out of turn number 4, he grabs spot number 2. Across the stripe comes Gary Smith. Sean Woodside, the youngster out of Saugus, California, in spot 2 in the Cinema Vehicle 07, and set sail after our leader, Gary Smith. The distance now almost a half a track between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Back to the 4th place car of Kevin Culver, and he gets Battle now from the 37 Larry Gunselman, formerly Bonnie Lake, Washington, now living in Incline Village, actually Sierra Village in the Tahoe area in California. Drives that Olson Technology Ford Thunderbird. Eddie Oak back on the course after a lengthy pit stop.
Some experience for Eddie Oak as he makes his way back out onto the racetrack. You know, Gary, you wonder if Butch Gilliland was feeling the heat from Sean, and Sean went by easily on the inside out of turn 4. Did he pull over and just let him go so he'd take care of his tires, his car, and just wait for the pit stop?
Absolutely. It looks like they may go green for a long time. It's kind of a guessing game right now, and of course all in contact with their crew chiefs, and we know that radio contact, but right now somebody's got to be telling Gary Smith that Sean Woodside's on the charge within a car length. He catches him in turn number 3, looks underneath. Smith holds a good tight line, lets it drift a little bit out of 4, but still inside line, uses center of the track. Sean Woodside gets the draft as they come down the long front chute into turn number 1. The fastest car on the course of this time. Woodside looks underneath, covers the quarter panel, taps him a little bit, backs off, and they are nose to tail down the back chute. They pull about 20 car lengths ahead of the third place car of Butch Gilliland. Great battle up front. We'll take him out of turn number 4. It's Gary Smith out of Malahat, British Columbia, holding on for dear life. Sean Woodside, Saugus, California. In they come into turn 1. Traffic ahead, Gary.
Traffic, and it plays to Gary Smith's favor as he'll go to the outside and Sean Woodside will fade in behind him. But Sean Woodside, as you said, Gary, absolutely a rocket ship out on a 5H right now. The fastest car on the track, Sean Woodside, and Gary Smith is holding on, like you say, dear life. He's got a back marker ahead of him. They come out of turn 4. This time Sean Woodside cranks on the wheel, comes left, looks to the inside. They've got the lap car ahead of him. That's Brandon Ash's number 23. He goes to the outside once again in an opportune place for Gary Smith. He goes around the outside of Brandon Ash. Sean Woodside fades back once again. Lap traffic playing into Gary Smith's favor, but now he pushes clean air, and there's a great distance ahead to the next lap traffic. Can he hang on?
Unofficially, 9 cars still in the lead lap, but they're starting to pick him up and lay him down as we see Eddie Oak into the pit area one more time. Lots of problems. And we'll go to Scott.
All right, well, remember when Sean Woodside made that pit stop on lap number 2, took on a left rear tire because it definitely was flat. There was a hole in the sidewall. Also, they were able to make that air pressure change. Nobody else has been able to make changes to their cars, but he was.
So to his advantage, good report, Scott, as we will watch him come out of turn number 4. One more time, Woodside looks inside down the long front chute. Gary Smith holds him off into turn number 1. Very smooth, but they are glued inside. Covers that quarter panel. Taps him a little bit. Lets him go very clean. They race hard. They race fast. 140 miles an hour into those corners, but still very clean as Sean Woodside looks underneath. Gary closes the door. Now he drifts up momentarily. Tires start to wear as we are working on lap number 66. It'll be 66 at the paint. Across the line, it's Gary Smith by a bumper.
Smith having a problem in the middle of turns, pushes up. Now he opens the door. Here comes Sean Woodside on the inside. Out of turn 2, he'll put that loud pedal to the floor on the inside, trying to cover the door of Smith, but Smith's got good horsepower. Does stay up high. Woodside has the inside groove in turns 3. As they come out of turn 4, he'll crank it left one more time. On the loud pedal, back to the stripe. We'll look down to the stripe. Does Sean Woodside have what it takes? No. Gary Smith battles back, slams the door in turn 1.
Beautiful run as Smith again goes wide underneath. Kicks up the rebel strips at 7 of Sean Woodside. Woodside now drops back about a half a car length. He had him covered at Gary Smith like a bulldog. Determination stayed on the loud pedal, worked the outside groove, and then closed the door into turn number 1. We'll come across to complete lap number 68. Is still nose to tail. Tremendous battle for the lead. It's the Coors Light 200 Evergreen Speedway. And you are watching live inside this time. He covers the entire number, but a car ahead of him. Which way they're going to guess? Pappy Pryor, and it again works the advantage of Gary Smith. The youngster runs it like a veteran. He had lost first place, gets it on the outside, and runs hard. There'll be 69 complete. We'll watch him out of turn 4 across the stripe. It's Gary Smith by a half a car length.
Boy, Smith traffic really working to his advantage as he uses the lap traffic as a pick to keep Sean Woodside off of his left side. Down the backstretch, they do have lap traffic in ahead of him right now. It's the 17 of George Nordling as they go around the outside of him. Gary Smith now about a 3-car length advantage as Sean Woodside got held up a little bit in lap traffic. Back to the stripe. Gary Smith with the advantage, about 3-car length. Let's go to Scott for a report.
All right, Eddie Oak has called it a day. They put the car behind the wall.
Thank you, Scott. A tough time for Eddie Oak as he cuts his teeth here at Evergreen Speedway in the Winston West Series.
Cuts his teeth on the Oak. That's right. I like that. We've got our leaders in the Apex of 3 and 4. We have 70 complete. 71, and tires have to be at a premium right now. Gary Smith again works the outside as he gets around Lou Miller. Right on his bumper comes Sean Woodside. Woodside likes that inside groove, drops it over the ripple strips, cannot do it, but this time he looks inside. Gary tries to close the door, he covers the quarter panel, they dive into turn number 3. It'll be side-by-side racing out of 4. If Gary can pick him up this time or not. Sean Woodside rotates out of turn number 4, goes to the lead. Sean Woodside, lap 72, the new leader.
Sean Woodside finally making that inside groove work for him. Finally had the room to do it. Lap traffic didn't come into play. He makes the pass down the front stretch. Down the back stretch, he already takes about a 2-car length advantage. Let's go to Scott for a report.
All right, well, there's been some scurrying going on pit road. The reason being is NASCAR has just informed all of the teams they can take an 8th man over the wall to clean the windshields. The drivers are complaining about all the oil on the windshields.
All right, they'll have plenty of them, but not all the crews have 8 people, so they'll have to get to the stands and borrow some, it looks like. As Sean Woodside is now pulled out to about an 8-car length lead over the second place of Gary Smith. Boy, we go a long way back to the 3rd place car. Butch Gilland just riding very smooth. He is a former endurance driver. He has no problem sitting back and saving the equipment. If we stay green for a long time, it could work back in his head. And of course, you have to wonder how much of the tires and how much of everything that Sean Woodside has used up to try to make that pass on Gary Smith. Smith is dropping back even more so now as Sean Woodside out front by himself into turn number 3. We'll have 75 down, 125 to go at the stripe this time. Out of turn number 4, use the center of the track. The car handles beautifully. As Scott said, he did a little twisting on it. He's got the setup he wants. He's completed 75 laps. Sean Woodside, your leader. Gary Smith in spot number 2.
Then back in 3rd is Butch Gilliland. Running 4th on the track right now is the 25 car of Kevin Culver in the Wagner Brakes Chevrolet Monte Carlo as he maintains 4th place on the track. Comes by the stripe. Then the battle is really hot for 5th place. Dan Obrist and the 37 car of Larry Gunselman. Obrist making by in lap traffic. They had the 00 car of Scott Gaylord in there, and he used him as a pick. Obrist goes by, takes a position. Fading back is the 37 of Larry Gunselman. That battle for position on the track. Then Roy Smith lies back there in 7th. Let's go to Dave Pilot in the pits.
Well, just about Roy Smith as you see him fading back. The tires are just about gone. I talked to his crew chief. That is a Winston Cup setup car. It's got an extra 100 pounds, and it's not doing so well for the tires out here tonight for Roy Smith.
Thank you very much, David. Good report. As we had anticipated that, now we get the absolute facts. His crew chief, Dick Midgley, Reg's son, and the car owned by Reg Midgley.
So Gary, the extra 100 pounds in the compression motor, it plays a little bit more in the tire wear of the car.
It absolutely, and of course, the other thing that you have to look at too, it's not a hot night, but during the day, the 9-to-1s run a little bit warmer. They kick out a little more heat. So that also plays into the 100 pounds, and the difference in the tire compounds has to be working to the advantage right now of the 07 as Sean Woodside all by himself. Very clean, and we'll check our leader, and still battle going on. They have caught Kevin Culver for spot number 4 right now. As Kevin Culver has a challenge by Dan Obrist, the veteran out of Portland, Oregon. So 2 Portland boys fight it out. As we'll watch our leader way into turn number 3, and now comes out of turn number 4. Gary Smith back about 30 car lengths, but there's a lot of traffic ahead. If they're going to do it, they'll do it now. 80 laps. Some of them said they'd like to pit at 80. Everybody waiting for that yellow flag if that happens, but it's not happening at this point. We can see the windshield's very dirty, by the way. If you'll take a look at the lights as they come by, that'll be tough to see.
Tough to see. That's why they're allowing the 8th man over the wall. If they've got the 8th man, of course, they'll borrow someone. There's enough people in the pits to do that. This might be a great time for us to step aside, take a quick 1-minute timeout before we get into the pit window area. You're listening to live coverage of the Coors 200 from Evergreen Speedway on News Talk 1380 KRKO.
back live at Evergreen Speedway. Kevin Culver dropping about 4 spots as we hadn't followed that battle the last few laps. Sean Woodside has put a lap on Lance Wade. Now he's in traffic. Gary Smith will try to catch up. Right behind Larry Gunselman.
Dan Obrist also getting through in the traffic earlier, and Obrist has broken away a little bit and he is in lap traffic now and not threatened by Roy Smith, who's a bit farther back, and then Culver losing those positions. Also just desperate for tires is what you'd speculate.
When Glenn talked earlier to Sean Woodside, he said he thought he would save his tires and then he would just make the one change and go hard after the 100. Yikes, if he goes any harder, we'll have to close the door.
Well, if that's saving tires, they don't want to know what it's like when he doesn't save his tires.
We'll go down to Scott and Vince. The yellow flag is out. Yellow flag.
All right, well, we just checked in with Rich Keeper, the crew chief for Kevin Culver. The only problem with him is that it was tires. We're going to see wholesale stops this time through.
Caution flag out here at Evergreen Speedway as our listeners on KRKO are back with us. The caution flag just out. And we'll see wholesale pit stops at this point. Let's go down to David in the pits.
Well, I was just in Lance Wade's pit area. They're planning on pitting about 120 as they changed 2 tires, 2 of the left side tires earlier on, but they had to do that to make an adjustment on the car.
Of Lance Wade. Lance Wade had taken on, I believe, left sides from the pits earlier in the race, so he's already tired up. He moves to the inside of Sean Woodside now.
And we do have the numbers of cars that did pit. Of course, 45 Gary Smith, the 12 of Dan Obrist, 00 was in the pits, and that is our fellow out of Lakewood, Colorado. That is Scott Gaylord.
They go 2 by 2 on the track. Let's go to Scott for a pit report.
Well, we just checked in with both the Gary Smith and the Butch Gilliland pit. Why he left? Well, they said they want to save their right tires for later when they really need them. So, and we looked at the Hoosier tires that came off Gilliland. They don't look bad at all.
Thank you very much, Scott. Good report, and we get set right now. As we're back to green and going, Sean Woodside right behind him, Gary Smith. New tires, we're going to see how they hold up this time as Gary Smith. The pressure of the 2 comes popping into turn number 3. It's still Sean Woodside, all ahead go. Coming out of that lap down the field, would like to make a move. That is 37 Larry Gunselman, and then Roy Smith gets underneath. On Roy Smith's car that backed him up last time. Gary Smith looks inside. Doesn't happen as they will go down the backstretch. Full speed. This time, Gary Smith will take the lower line. John Woodside. Did he make a mistake, or was it the perfect call as they'll come out of turn number 4 down the stripe, complete lap number 91. We're getting close to halfway. Gary Smith inside. Lets him go clean. Smith, car sticks down, covers the quarter panel. Sean Woodside rotates up at turn number 2. Down the backstretch. Good move. Here comes Gary Smith. Up to cover the quarter panels. He has a number. He's side by side. Inside track. Crowd getting very excited. They like the youngster from Malahat, British Columbia. Also up to challenge will be the 09 of Roy Smith. We saw this last time. The Hoosiers coming in, but what are they going to come in and when they're going to come in? If we stay yellow for, I should say green for a long time, should be tremendous. Look at the 25 of Kevin Culver in spot number 4. Our new leader, 45, Gary Smith, as he will have the lead officially on lap number 93.
He will, Gary Smith. He's got him strung right in behind him, Gary Cressy, as they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cars in a row broken away from Butch Gilliland, I should say, and Dan Obrist as they battle back there for 5th place. It's Gary Smith, then Sean Woodside and Roy Smith, and then the number 25 car of Kevin Culver. We had the crowd on the feet as they looked at Roy Smith, took a peek down the inside of Sean Woodside last time out of turn 4. They come back to the stripe this time out of turn 4. Gary Smith holding on to the lead. Sean Woodside now threatened on the inside. Here comes Roy Smith on the inside, makes the move into turn 1. It's Roy Smith on the inside. Sean Woodside flares out wide. Roy Smith back on the hard pedal. Does he have enough horsepower? Down the backstretch. He covers the back quarter panel. Gets up to the door. They head to turn 3. Roy Smith takes the 09 down on the inside. Sean Woodside on the outside. And he's going to take the position away as they come out of turn 4. Back to the stripe. Gary Smith has got about 4 car lengths. He looks in the mirror. 2 by 2 they are. Roy Smith takes second place.
Beautiful run by Roy Smith. Now Kevin Culver looks underneath, also trying to make that move as they watch the 07 Sean Woodside. He has to back off. Also, Butch Gilliland up to challenge. Tires have to be going away. I'm glad I didn't make that call. The crew chief did, and if we stay green a long time, he could be in a whole world of hurt. As Sean Woodside, the quickest car on the course for about 50 laps, now backing up as Gary Smith, your leader, across the lead lap 96. We'll go to Scott.
All right, we're with Jeff, the crew chief for the 07 car. Why did you not make the stop?
Well, it was awful early. I mean, we only had 85 laps down. We still got 120 to go. Awful early to put tires on.
But he's going backwards now. Are you sorry?
No, they paid to win the last lap, not lap 100.
All right, well, we'll have to wait and see if this pays off for Sean Woodside.
Up front, we'll watch them as they take it in turn number 1. Roy Smith now going to challenge Gary Smith. Kevin Culver runs third. In 4th, Sean Woodside in 5th. Butch Gilliland 6th in the 12 car, Dan Obrist. And then running behind will be the 00 Scott Gaylord. We dig it back to Pappy Pryor. Also 16, Bill McAnally. Some of those cars down laps through the field. We'll try to get a rundown from NASCAR at the end of 100 laps as we're counting them down towards 100 laps. Your leader, Gary Smith and Roy Smith, they pull out to about a 10 car length lead. Not a problem for father and son. We have a brand new headset on. Terry Buelling's looking mighty confidential.
Well, I can hear what I'm supposed to hear, and that's a good thing. Out front, Gary Smith with the lead, then Roy Smith. This is what everyone really has been waiting to see, and it has been interesting. Roy Smith fades back into new tires, comes back out front. I'll tell you, a great run so far for Culver in a 25.
Yes, it is. He backed up, of course, until he got the new tires on, and we'll check and see what type he has on. Kevin Culver starting back. He's on the Hoosiers, so those went away a little bit quicker than the other ones. They must have made an adjustment. Certainly running fine now. Now he gets bumped away and drops back into spot number 5.
Butch Gilliland really wanted that position as he came through turns 2.
Obrist on the charge also gets right up behind his fellow Portland driver, Dan Obrist. In the Obrist excavating Monte Carlo, and they're across the stripe. 101 complete. This is now an official race. At 101 laps, an official race. And your leader, the 45 of Gary Smith. Back to Roy Smith, and then a long way back as they make great ground that time. Go out to about a 20 car length lead over the 3rd place car, and that is Sean Woodside out of Saugus, California.
And back to 4th place, Butch Gilliland from Anaheim, California, in his Ford Thunderbird, the current series points leader, as he runs in 4th place. Let's pause for 10 seconds for station identification. We're back live at Evergreen Speedway. The Coors Light 200 is running before us, and up front, Gary Smith maintains the lead. Roy Smith, his father, about 3 car lengths back to Casey Veterans. Clears out a lot wider than Gary does down in turn 1, running that higher group through turns 1 and 2. Gary Smith maintains the lead. Roy Smith second. They're in turns 3. Sean Woodside maintaining third and maintaining the pace. Just a couple car lengths behind Roy Smith.
Certainly has. They've caught back up again, and Woodside running beautifully. Crew chief with a great report by Scott as we watch him maintain spot number 3. We have 104 laps complete. And yes, gentlemen, just as soon as we can, we'll get a rundown after 100 laps on who's on the lead lap. We do know that the top 4 running by themselves, actually the top 6 all on the lead lap. And that is the 45 of Gary Smith in first, second, the 09 of Roy Smith in third, the 07, and that's Sean Woodside. In fourth is the 38 of Butch Gilliland. In fifth, 25, Kevin Culver. In sixth and 12 of Dan Obrist. Those are on the lead lap. The rest of them we'll have to get for you.
Well, we'll certainly check for who's on the lead lap at the stripe. As he comes back by this time, Gary Smith with the lead. It'll be 106 down in the Coors Light 200. Let's step away for a 1-minute timeout. You're listening to live coverage of the Coors Light 200 from Evergreen Speedway on News Talk 1380 KRKO.
across the stripe. And now a battle for spot number 3. Good battle starting to heat up to the outside. Goes the 38 of Butch Gilliland. He will grab spot number 3. The nose out front near the Strop Thunderbird. Now back comes, wow, tenacious, the word for Sean Woodside. But side-by-side racing, Gilliland also on the Hoosiers, but he has the fresher ones. He made the pit stop. They're both up behind Roy Smith. The veteran tries to drop him down on the track. Inside goes Woodside. He's going for second or fourth. Great run down the backstretch.
Well, he's showing the proud power of that Pontiac is Sean Woodside in the 07 on the outside, Butch Gilliland. And really, the line that Roy Smith is taking up higher on the track is lending itself to Sean Woodside, maintaining his position.
Woodside's car handled very well the entire day. At the end of 100 laps, as we're back on with KRKO Radio, 1380 AM. At 100 laps, we're working lap 110 right now. Your leader, the 45 car, Gary Smith, in second with 09. Roy Smith, then 07. Sean Woodside. The 38, Butch Gilliland. 25, Kevin Culver. The 12, Dan Obrist. Scott Gaylord, 00. And the 16 is Bill McAnally, all on the lead lap. Then one lap down, 37 of Larry Gunselman. The 95 of Lance Wade. 2 laps down is the 23 of Brandon Ash. And then after that will come the 8 of Lou Miller, the 17 of Nordling, and a long way down, but still on the course, the 22 car of St. James Davis.
So the 95 car of Lance Wade is a lap down, according to Nascar's scoring.
8 cars on the lead lap.
Okay.
The last car on the lead lap, the 16 of Bill McAnally. They're into heavy traffic right now as they get around St. James Davis. Your leader, Gary Smith, working on lap number 112. He'll take it out of turn number 4 and will come across the stripe. Great run by the youngster from Malahat. Boy, heavy traffic ahead of him. Roy Smith right behind him. They've all caught up. So we have the top 6 cars nose to tail as they work the outside of the track, trying to get some clean air and rid themselves, trying to put another lap on Larry Gunselman. Gunselman, a tough runner. Now he drops down low. Gary Smith goes to the outside. They're using those tires up again. Sean Woodside with 112 laps on his tire, all except for the one left rear that he changed earlier, but still 100-plus laps on that one. 113 laps complete. Your leader, Gary Smith, and Kevin Culver into the pits right now. We'll get Dave or Scott.
Go ahead, Scott Ellsworth.
All right, Kevin Culver pulling in. They changed right side tires last time, Rich Keeper. This time they bring out a light. It is going up underneath the hood. We do see some smoke. They've also got it and lifted up the trunk lid on this, so they're making some adjustments back there. They've gone to the under the hood, so probably Kevin Culver's machine is going to lose a lap.
Up front the battle goes as outside Roy Smith puts the nose out front, takes the 14-1 Rich Midgley car. And Dick Midgley, he will lead. Spot number 2 up for grabs out of turn number 4 and side by side, Woodside to the outside. Roy Smith, new leader, lap number 115.
Contact from Gary Smith that time. Now contact with the left car comes down the outside. It's the 16 of McAnally, makes contact with Gary Smith. Sparks on the outside. Somebody else spinning right in turn 1. Facing back our way, don't have the car number on that one. Gary Smith had a little contact. That's 22. That's the 22 car down facing us in turn 1, St. James Davis. And Gary Smith had a little contact coming out of turn 4 there as he tried to get to the outside. I think it was Sean Woodside, perhaps, that he rubbed as he came down the front stretch and then made contact with the 16.
And we may see the pit stops happening one more time as our 4th yellow coming out for the 45. He's all the way down on the front. We'll see what happens as he comes pounding around there inside. Both of our pit reporters, Dave Pylan and Scott Ellsworth, we're waiting for, and the pace car is out. They'll make a quick change, try to get him back out, keep him on the lead lap.
Let's go to Scott.
Right front.
All right, well, the Gary Smith car is out on pit road. The right front tire has gone down. It was time for right side tire change anyhow. They made the left side, so this may work to their advantage. They are pulling sheet metal away. Right now, the damage from this side of the race car, which is on the right, is only superficial. He's coming back out on the racetrack with fresh right side tires.
Well, thank you, Scott Ellsworth. He'll not make it back out in time, though, Gary Cressy.
Absolutely not. So that will put him down a lap. However, he'll probably get a chance to move on up with a chance on the inside. We'll see how that goes. So they hold him up. And more pit stops being made right now. Time to Scott.
All right, well, we just checked in with Sean Woodside. We saw that they pulled those right side tires off. I'll tell you what, Gary, there's still a lot of wear on these race tires. You can still see the wear bars. No problem with Sean Woodside on tire wear.
Thank you, Dave. You know, Gary Cressy, I didn't realize that the double zero of Scott Gaylord had such a fine run going.
He certainly did. We had him on the lead lap. We had 8 cars on that lead lap at lap 100. Also, Bill McAnally, as they made earlier pit stops, but that was under the first yellow we had. We are on our 4th yellow right now, coming out on lap number 115. We're working on lap number 120. Lights are still on the Pontiac pace car. Don't forget, Winston West fans, the Winston West will be at Portland next Friday night. The Pontiac White Track 200. $3 off if you stop by Weston Pontiac and get the discount coupon. They'll also have the late model stock cars at the track that's too tough to tame, the Monster Half Mile of Portland Speedway. That's Friday night, July 11th, Winston West NASCAR, the Pontiac White Track 200 down to Scott.
All right, well, we're bringing you up to date on Scott Gaylord. He stopped. Remember, he had a bit of an overheating problem on lap number 2. They solved that problem. He came in on lap number 36, changed left side tires, and put 4 rounds of wedge in that car. Then made another stop on lap number 84, but did not take on tires, just took on gas and made a chassis adjustment. And now come in here on lap 116. You got to keep Scott Gaylord in your...
To stay where he is and then pull out ahead. Your leader right now, the 09 of Roy Smith in second spot, the 38. And that is Butch Gilliland in third, will be the 07 of Sean Woodside. So Gary down a lap of the field, but he can make that lap up. Obviously, he wants to get off and make a quick run and then try to maintain and hope for a yellow flag and get back at the tail end of that lead lap. Down 1 lap to the field, so he has to go all the way back around. As they drop the pace car off, we'll take it out of turn number 4, down the long chute. Gary Smith with a charge. He'll flash across. And Roy Smith right behind him. Then comes the 38. Butch Gill on a little smoke puffs out of the 09, our leader, Roy Smith. But it's Roy Smith and then Butch Gilliland as they take it down the long backstretch. In third spot, Sean Woodside.
Sean Woodside holding down that third spot. Then in fourth will be Dan Obrist in the number 12 car. He's got a problem back in traffic. Mired back in traffic in the pack. It's the number 8 car of Lou Miller as he fades up wide in the middle of turns 3 and 4, right in front of Dan Obrist. Obrist had to get far in the binders. Now he clears traffic. Up ahead of him, they go 2 wide on the track. There is the number 17 car. The 17 of George Nordling down on the inside. And Larry Gunselman down on the inside of him, even farther down the track on the backstretch in turn 3. Up front, it's Gary Smith trying to stay on the lead lap so that if there were a caution, he could come back around and catch the back of the pack.
Those cars on the lead lap at the end of 120 laps. 09 our leader, Roy Smith, and the 38 of Butch Gilliland, 07 of Sean Woodside, the 12 of Dan Obrist, the 16 of Bill McAnally, and the 00 of Scott Gaylord. Those are the 6 on the lead lap at 120. We're working on lap number 125. Gary Smith down 1 lap of the field, still trying to maintain out front. And we've got one into the wall. Could be the 22. We'll check right now.
A white car in against the wall right now. It's heavy damage.
95 they're telling us, so we didn't see that very well. Lance Wade into the wall and will bring out the yellow. The yellow that Gary's looking for, but certainly not the one that Lance Wade was looking for down to Dave.
Well, Kevin Culver just pulled back into his pits again. One last check on that oil leak, and they do have it fixed. Everything's A-okay.
Down to Scott Ellsworth.
All right, well, the biggest cheer on pit road when this yellow flag came out came from Gary Smith's pits. They're back on the lead lap, but they'll be at the tail end of the field. We also see that Sean Woodside's crew is ready here on pit road. We'll see if they're going to go ahead and make the left side changes. Of course, they have not made the 4 tire changes at this point.
And we see now that the youngster out of Victoria, British Columbia, Lance Wade, out of the car, so he's okay. He walks across the track. Lance Wade takes a tough one in the apex of 3 and 4 up against the concrete barrier just past the Napa Auto Bart sign.
Nutter Chevrolet Monte Carlo rejoins the field. The pace car still has the lights on as it comes back by the stripe. Well, Butch Gilliland first in the field right now and the current points leader, so not a...
Good evening, Terry. So he's took over on about lap 126. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, we tried to get a hold of Lance Wade as he walked by us, but he is one very unhappy camper at this point.
He said next time around the light should go off from the Pontiac pace car. They do. Now the inside line will move up, and that first one will be the 37 car, Larry Gunselman.
Gunselman down 1 lap, is that right, on our sheets?
We'll check that.
Might be 2. We'll check as he moves up to the inside.
Down 1 lap, so.
Well, unofficially, we'll call him 1 lap down right now.
Okay, I can accept that. I don't have a problem with that. It says easy.
Butch Gilliland is the one.
And by the way, for Dave Bonham, that is germane to the entire broadcast. Dave.
Well, not only is Lance Wade upset, but his crew chief as well, as he had the Winston West official in his pit area showing the bumps and scrapes on the left side of the Lance Wade number 95.
So not a happy camper. We're back to green inside. Gunselman trying to get a lap back on the outside. He's 2 laps down. He'll grab one now if he can. He's on 1 lap down pace as he goes ahead of the 38 car. Butch Gilliland, our leader. Spot number 2, Roy Smith. And then back to the 12 of Dan Obrist. We'll watch them out of turn number 4 across the stripe. Where's Gary Smith this time? He's right ahead of Sean Woodside. Woodside looks underneath. Again, tries to work that traffic as he has all night. It works to his advantage. Maybe. Nordley in the middle of the track, the lower line, and now 45. Gary Smith on the move. They are high and loose. Yikes. Nice save. Nice save. He slides into third, out of turn number 4 and across the line.
Sean Woodside tried a little 3-wide action. He was actually the meat in the sandwich on that one. He had cars on either side of him and Culver. Discretion being the better part of valor. Backed out and let Sean Woodside go as Woodside and Gary Smith locked up in that battle. They were locked up before in front of in the same deal. Gary Smith, his car pushes just a bit down in turns 1 and 2. Opens the door but gets a little bit better rotation off the turn. John Woodside pulls up to the back bumper of Gary Smith. A good battle going on back in the pack. Meanwhile, out front, Butch Gilliland maintains the lead, and in front of him, still getting one of his laps back, is the 37 of Larry Gunselman.
Yes, he is. And then in second spot is Roy Smith. Behind Roy, and a great run by Dan Obrist as he is in spot number 3 across the line right behind him. We'll watch Obrist as he works on Roy Smith. Roy Smith trying to gather him up, and they have gained ground on the 38 car of Butch Gilliland. Gilliland, your leader, as he gets up behind Gunselman, tries to put him back 2 laps on the field. Not to happen this time, and we have 136 laps complete. 200 make up the distance for the Coors Light 200. Winston West Racing at Evergreen Speedway.
Butch Gilliland now pulls up to the back bumper of Gunselman. He looks in the mirror and he sees them closing on him. Perhaps it's a motivator to get going a little faster. Although Gunselman, easy to catch, a lot harder to pass right now. Roy Smith in that battle with Obrist. Dan Obrist and the Dan Obrist Recycling Chevrolet Monte Carlo takes it to the inside of Roy Smith. Takes a peek down the front stretch. They come back to the stripe. Butch Gilliland about 8 car lengths out ahead of Roy Smith. Roy Smith in that battle with Obrist. Smith up high, fades high in turn 1. Opens the door for Obrist. Can he take advantage of it? Down the back chute they will fly, and it's the 09 of Roy Smith up on the outside. Maintains the position. Let's go to Dave Pyland in the pits for a report.
Talking to Roy Smith's crew chief, Mr. Midgley, the tires are gone already on the 09 of Roy Smith.
Wow. So the veteran holds on for dear life as the tires, and now we see him as he flares out. Dan Obrist goes underneath. A little bit of a bobble by our leader. Now he gathers it back up again and shoots past the 37 of Gunselman to put him down 2 laps. Gunselman challenges back, trying to get his lap back as there's a long way still to go. He'd like to be in the hunt at the end. Out of turn number 4 across the line to complete lap 139. Your leader, Butch Gilliland. In spot number 2, Dan Obrist. In third is the 09 of Roy Smith then 16. Bill McAnally, 00. Scott Gaylord back to the 45 of Gary Smith and the 07 of Sean Woodside. Woodside must be playing possum because he knows he's got 60 laps to go when they cross the stripe this time. 140 laps complete at Evergreen Speedway. It's the Coors Light 200 for Winston West.
Well, Butch Gilliland, about 2 laps ago down in turn 1, Gary had that car absolutely sideways on the outside of Gunselman. Did a great job of regaining control of it. Now drives away by a bunch over Dan Obrist, who's in second. Dan Obrist now comes up on Gunselman. The lap traffic looks to him as they come out of turn 4 and back to the stripe. Obrist will figure his way around him. Roy Smith, meanwhile, fades back. Dave Pylan said tires going away on that car, and indeed, the 09 of Roy Smith heads towards the pit area where Dave Pylan is standing by.
That's exactly right, Terry. Roy Smith into the pit area, and they're going to go to the right-hand side with 2 new tires, which here they go, and get a little bit of fuel in there, too. It's got to be a quick one here. Under green, not a good stop for Roy Smith.
And he goes down a lap right now as our leader goes past. Obrist in second, in third, McAnally. We watch them in a gaggle of cars down the backstretch as Gary Smith, also Sean Woodside, try to gather up spot number 3. Now held by Bill McAnally. Outside goes Sean Woodside. Inside comes Gary Smith, our leader across the stripe. And that is the Strop Ford Thunderbird of Butch Gilliland, the current point leader for the Winston West with 2 victories, trying to make it 3 right here at the big 5/8 mile track at Evergreen Speedway. Roy Smith goes back out again with fresh tires.
McAnally's Napa Chevrolet Monte Carlo falls to Sean Woodside. Sean Woodside now puts McAnally in between himself and Gary Smith. They come back to the stripe this time. Working lap 145 of the Coors Light 200. McAnally still maintains that position. Gary Smith tucked in behind him.
Sean Woodside is in spot number 2 at this time, I should say 3, as he got around McAnally, and Gary Smith fades back. So we'll watch the charge from spot number 3 by Sean Woodside, the youngster out of Saugus, California, in the Cinema Automotive 07.
We'll put a clock on him, Gary, and find out what that distance is in between and find out if he is closing on them. Of course, he looks still now to be the rocket ship that he was early on in the Coors Light 200.
Absolutely. Sets it very low, lets it just drift centrifugally through that turn. Out of turn number 4, he'll come across the stripe. About 5 seconds behind and gaining on him.
He certainly is, and like you say, that car is running a smooth line around the track. He rotating perfectly off of turn 2 in the preferred groove. He lets the car kind of drift up where it wants to go. He gets good power down to the tires and onto the asphalt on the 5/8 oval. As continuing to lead, Butch Gilliland looking to hang on to this one. He flashes by the stripe. Dan Obrist back in between him and Sean Woodside. Sean Woodside has Dan Obrist now about 6 car lengths ahead of him. Out of turn 2 and down the backstretch, the 07 of Sean Woodside looking to gun down the Dan Obrist Recycling Chevrolet in second place. That is the number 12 of Dan Obrist. Meanwhile, Gary Smith fades back about 15 car lengths now as he struggles to try to regain some of the ground that he's lost now to Sean Woodside.
And Sean Woodside has picked up 1 second on our leader. And of course, that's Butch Gilliland making his 92nd start for the Winston West. The crew chief, his son, David Gilliland, a car owned by Bill Strop Jr., and it's the Ford Thunderbird. 6 career wins and over $380,000, trying to pack a little bit more right now with the Winston money and all the rest to go to the series champion, Butch Gilliland. In control, the battle for spot number 2, starting to take place as Sean Woodside on the back of Dan Obrist in the 12 car, but there's cars ahead of him. In fact, they're 2 abreast into 3 and out of 4. All this working to the advantage of our leader, Butch Gilliland.
Butch Gilliland on the Hoosiers, back by the stripe, 150 laps down into Coors Light, 250 laps to go. It's a 50-lap shootout down to the end of this one, and that lap traffic back in second place. Look at the battle back there. Obrist on the outside. It's Sean Woodside on the inside. They got Gunselman in the 17 right ahead of him. A big block going on. There goes the 07 of Sean Woodside, 3 wide as he makes the pass. Dives into turn 3. Spectacular move. Now look, Dan Obrist around. He spins it right in the middle of turns 3 and 4 in of traffic. Everybody slows. The caution flag comes out. Obrist couldn't quite hang on the outside, Gary.
No, he could not, and the spin brings out the yellow flag.
Let's go down to Dave Pylan for a report on that.
Well, Terry, as you were talking about Dan Obrist, I went into his pit crew and talked to them. The car is just fine. He got up on the outside there and pushed up, but he's not going to make a pit stop at this time because everything's A-okay as we just see Gaylord roaring by me.
Scott.
Go ahead, Scott Ellsworth.
All right, Scott Gaylord back in. The reason that he's back in, not only to clean the windshield some more, but also they felt that they did not get enough fuel in the car the last 2 times, so they came in and topped it off one more time.
Well, Gary, I guess the rest of the guys on the lead lap feel like they might have enough fuel to go the rest of the way.
Absolutely, they should have no problem with 100 laps, and most of them pitted on lap 126, so they should have plenty of fuel to go. He may have had a pickup problem, as Scott had alluded to earlier. Back out of the pits at this time, Brandon Ash. As we run down those still on the course for you. Our pace car from Pontiac. The NASCAR pace car comes across. Butch Gilliland did the 37 down a couple laps to the field. He'll go to the inside. That's Larry Gunselman, the 07 in second spot. Sean Woodside, 17. Nordling, and that is George Nordling out of Milwaukee, Oregon, still running. Also the 8 of Lou Miller out of Yakima, Washington. Kevin Culver with some problems back out. Of course, Roy Smith is 09, the 22 of St. James Davis, the 6 of Pappy Pryor, 23, Brandon Ash, the 00 of Scott Gaylord, the 12, Dan Obrist, 16, Bill McAnally, 45, Gary Smith. Those cars still on the track. 14 cars of the original 18s, only 4 in the pits. We go to Dave Pylan.
Well, speaking of Bill McAnally, I was talking to his crew chief, and he said everything's okay. He got some cosmetic damage on, as you see his hood, kind of a stiff upper lip there. But Bill McAnally sitting in 4th, he's A-okay.
And we're full ahead grade. They'll dive into turn number 1. Larry Gunselman, a lap car between our leader, the 38 of Anaheim's Butch Gilliland. We'll watch him as he uses that to advantage. Sean Woodside, the quick one underneath, tries to grab it out of turn number 4. Then he'll float back to the middle of the track, take it across the stripe. 156, and the removal flag goes out for the 37 Gunselman. He obviously did not see that and will stay in position. Sean Woodside trying to gather him up. Looks underneath, will dive in deeper, but then has to be very careful as the door closes. Now up wide in the marbles, he has to slow momentarily. Goes Larry Gunselman, and across the stripe to complete lap 157. Butch Gilliland back to Sean Woodside. In third, the 45 of Gary Smith. In 4th will be the 12 after that spin and back end running very hard. Dan Obrist, also McAnally and Roy Smith. Roy down laps to the field after the green flag stopped 4 tires.
McAnally hanging on just ahead of Roy Smith, and then is the 00 of Scott Gaylord. Both of them on the lead lap as they come back by the stripe. It's Butch Gilliland and a hard-charging Sean Woodside, and that Pontiac, the Cinema Vehicle Services Pontiac Grand Prix of Sean Woodside, is reeling in Butch Gilliland. It is a race now. Gary Smith trying to pick him up and put him down and catch the pack here. He's got Larry Gunselman in ahead of him as he lies in 3rd place. He has to get back around Gunselman, find a way around him so he can reel in our leaders. That's Butch Gilliland and Sean Woodside. Sean Woodside now about 2 car lengths off the rear deck of the 38 of Butch Gilliland. Gary Smith is 3rd, 4th. Obrist in a battle with Culver, although not for position. Then Roy Smith has gotten back around Gaylord, who has passed the 16 car, and that is the 16 of Bill McAnally.
Gaylord still on the lead lap as they're telling us right now, but kicks up sparks. He Well, lead up front right now, Sean Woodside. Right up behind Butch Gilliland. Drops back about a half a car length, will charge into turn 3. Actually, the setup looking very good now as they stayed out. He had no problem. The car handling beautiful. As Scott Ellsworth told us, the wear bar is still on those tires at about 123 laps. He has all the tires, all the fuel. He's up under the quarter panel. Can't do it this time down the backstretch. Sean Woodside, the quickest car on the course, trying to catch our leader, Butch Gilliland.
How many times we said it tonight during the course of this race? Sean Woodside, the fastest car on the racetrack. As he pulls up now, he'll look to the inside, out of turn 4 and back to the stripe. He looks to the inside, but moving down the track, Butch Gilliland blocks that move. Into turn 1 he goes. Sean Woodside just, all over the back of Butch Gilliland. Once again, looks to the inside as they rotate out of turn 2. Butch Gilliland looks to have a little advantage out of turn 2 as they make their way around the track each and every time. A good shot for Sean Woodside. Down in turns 3 and 4, he seems to be able to turn it left a lot quicker.
And now he comes out of 4 very low, kicks up the ripple strip, takes it along side by side, inside move, dives into turn number 1. Sean Woodside maintains this time. He is up even, and now the rotation goes back as Terry told you. Fast out of turn number 2. That low line will not get you the bite off of turn number 2 you need. Avoid as he cover him in 3 and 4. Into 3, he's side by side. Out of 4, he'll try to maintain. All ahead go, power on, power in, into turn number 1. Sean Woodside, our new leader, on lap 164.
Now here comes Butch Gilliland. He'll fight it back out of turn 2. Keep Sean Woodside pinned down. A battle door-to-door around the track for the lead as Butch Gilliland battles back on the outside. Here's where his disadvantage is. Can Sean Woodside take advantage of it this time? Here comes Butch Gilliland in the Ford Thunderbird. The Pontiac on the inside. Back to the stripe. Who will lead this lap down to the stripe? It's almost a dead heat back to the stripe.
Sean Woodside has the 5 points for leading a lap. But now he is still in the battle, side-by-side racing. Again, does not rotate off of turn 2 as quick as Gilliland gets up even with him. Tremendous race at 165 laps, and they're side-by-side, 2 by 2. Cover him with a blanket. What a run out of 4 down the line. Across the stripe, we complete lap 166. Gilliland, your leader again. Another lead change.
Gilliland in the Ford, regained the lead just by a hair at the stripe. He tucked it right in front of Sean Woodside, 07 Pontiac Grand Prix. Now Woodside fades back in behind him. They've got lap traffic down ahead of him. That's the 6 car, Pappy Pryor out of Priest Lake, Idaho. As they clear him on the inside. This time Sean Woodside won't have the run down the inside. They come back to the stripe. Gilliland leads Sean Woodside. Meanwhile, Gary Smith, this has given him the chance to regain some of the ground that he lost to the leaders. Smith in behind Gunselman, the 37 car, and lap traffic down the backstretch now as Smith tries to clear that traffic as Woodside looks to the inside of Gilliland one more time.
Black flag out for the 16 car. Bill McAnally has a hood that looks like it's going to fly off, and so they posted his number for the 16. Tough break, running very well, the Alberta, California driver in the Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet. So the black flag one more time. We'll see if he sees it. We'll watch again. Sean Woodside, side by side, has the inside groove up to traffic. On the outside, it works better for Gilliland. They'll take it across the line. Out front again, a dead heat, the nose out front to the 07 car. Wow, they have swapped leads in 3 straight laps. Traffic to the outside goes Gilliland. Inside comes Sean Woodside. He'll dive underneath Northey. They make the sandwich, and it works great. Wow. Would you like to be in the 17 car? No thanks, no thanks. As they'll flash across one more time. 3 abreast, and it's Gilliland. You can't keep changing them that many times. The scores go crazy, and so do we. Well, every lap a new leader.
Brandon Ash, that time they tried to split him, and he came down the track, and Sean Woodside went way inside the inside retaining wall, kicked up dirt down in turn 1, held on to it. Great job, Sean Woodside. Now he's got a real Butch Gilliland back in. 171 laps down, this time by in the Coors Light 200.
And about 3 car lengths. We'll go down to Dave Pilot in the pits.
Bill McAnally now up on jacks. He had a lot of smoke pouring out of the rear end. They're going to check it up right now, as it looks like he might have burned out his rear end in his car, but we'll get back to you on that.
Thank you very much, David, as the battle now looms again. Sean Woodside, the 07, has caught our leader, Butch Gilliland. Gilliland leads lap 172. 28 laps to go. Inside. Beautiful move. What a run. Now we'll see if he can hold it down. Terry, as he takes out turn number 2. Gilliland swaps it back and drops back a car length. Rocket ship for the 07. Powers into turn 3. What a absolute rotation as he handled that line beautifully this time across the stripe. 173 down. Your leader is now Sean Woodside.
Boy, Sean Woodside, that time it was like Butch Gilliland was just anchored on the front stretch as he came by him on the inside and now pulls out to about 5 car lengths. Meanwhile, Gary Smith is about 10 car lengths back from Butch Gilliland as he tries to draw in Butch Gilliland. Butch Gilliland slowing up perhaps just a bit. I don't know if Sean Woodside got that much faster. Butch Gilliland might have got just a bit slower.
They changed leads 5 times in 22 laps. Holy Toledo, what a horse race. And now Sean Woodside by himself as he has moved out. We're working lap 175. There'll be 25, a Saturday night shootout right here on Saturday night, the 5th of July. Happy to have you aboard at Evergreen Speedway for IPI production. Starting to smell some gear oil and clutches. Who's there? Also to gather up, here comes Gary Smith on a late charge, right up behind. There's your 3 down the backstretch. Sean Woodside, the 38 of Gilliland, and Gary Smith, the young Canadian, has gathered our leaders up. What a race. We have 24 laps to go when we cross the stripe, and they are bumper to bumper. Beautiful run. Your leader, Sean Woodside, in the one with Terry Buell.
Well, Sean Woodside and Butch Gilliland ran side by side, swapped the lead with 5 times 7 laps. They ran a lot of rubber off their tires as Smith was just able to maintain his line. Now it's Gary Smith on the back bumper of Butch Gilliland in turn 3. Just ahead of them, about 4 car lengths, is Sean Woodside's Pontiac. It's a Pontiac, it's a Ford Thunderbird, and a Chevrolet. They come back 1, 2, 3 the stripe. This time it's Sean Woodside. He has the advantage. Butch Gilliland looks down to the inside as Gary Smith now takes even a closer peek to the inside, but his car continues to push up in the middle of turns 1 and 3 as he flares up each time, but good rotation out of turn 2. That's where the advantage Gary Smith has. Now to the inside of Butch Gilliland. It's Gary Smith. He has the advantage. He covers the door through turns 3. Out of turn 4, we'll watch him as they come back to the stripe. It'll be Sean Woodside in the lead, and for second place, Gary Smith tries the inside. It's still Butch Gilliland by about a fender at the stripe.
A car out in front right now, and that's going to be Lou Miller ahead of our leader. Again, the 38 car Butch Gilliland is dropped in it, and we have a lead, a battle into turn number 3. Gary right up alongside him. Now the advantage goes to the 38 of Gilliland. He will work traffic, takes it out across the stripe. We're going to have 179 down, 21 laps to go to Scott Ellsworth.
All right, well, not only are the crews rooting their crews on right now, or their drivers on, but you got to look at the Goodyear and the Hoosier engineers. They're both back here rooting their drivers on, and it's a shootout right now to the final.
There'll be 20 laps to go at the stripe out of turn number 4. Sean Woodside, the youngster out of Saugus, California. The Winston Racing Series champion of that track just 3 years ago, pops it across. He leads it. Still a great battle for spot number 2 as Butch Gilliland holds off Gary Smith. Gary Smith back up on the loud pedal. Really roars up, covers that quarter panel. He'll dive in deeper, try to come up drier this time. We look for him, and now Gilliland, who runs beautiful to the outside, stays with it. Inside comes Smith. Outside Gilliland at the paint. About a foot difference, and it was Gilliland. This time is still the 45 Gary Smith for spot 2 as they start to catch up to Sean Woodside. Back to Gilliland. Holy Toledo. Great auto racing. Winston West doing a job tonight for the Coors Light 200. There'll be 18 laps to go at the paint as Terry Buell takes him across. 182 complete.
Gary Smith makes that charge one more time. Gary Cressy, what he's having is a problem in the middle of the turns. He's pushing up wide, can't get the power back down. They've got lap traffic ahead of him, just as Gary Smith has an advantage. There's the 23 of Brandon Ash. And Gary Smith fades up wide right in front of Butch Gilliland. Butch Gilliland had to get on the binders. Gary Smith takes away second place. Around Brandon Ash he goes. They've got the 17 car on the inside. Here comes Gary Smith. Now he'll look to gun down the hard charging 07 of Sean Woodside. It's Sean Woodside leading. Gary Smith is second. Butch Gilliland third. Can Gary Smith reel in the 07 of Sean Woodside as they set sail down the backstretch.
We worked 183, working lap 184, and they're still only about a car length and a half apart. Equal distance. Now Gary picks up a little bit as he runs hard into 3 and out of 4 and down across the stripe. 184 down, 16 laps to go. Is Sean Woodside by a car length and a half over Gary Smith. Smith a little smoother as Woodside this time. Kind of bobble. They'll take it out of 2. Back on the horsepower. Gary Smith running down the leader. Sean Woodside running down. Can he pass him? There'll be 15 laps to go. Gary Smith right up behind him, takes the low line this time. They'll go across the stripe. 185 complete for the Coors Light 200.
It's Sean Woodside on the Hoosier tires up front. It's the Goodyear clad 45 car of Gary Smith in second. Then will come Butch Gilliland as he still hangs with the battle. 4 car lengths. It's Gary Smith. He looks to the inside of Sean Woodside as they dive into turn 3. Sean Woodside maintains the advantage a half a car length or so through turn 3, now out of turn 4 as they head back to the stripe. Sean Woodside with the advantage. Gary Smith looks to the inside, about a half a car length down. Now he fades up, Dukes to the outside. Dukes to the outside. Sean Woodside slides out just a bit. His car really sliding down in turn 1. Now they pick him up, put him down. Here comes Gary Smith back. Good rotation. Looks to the inside. Sean Woodside maintains the advantage. He tries to outbrake him, but Gary Smith can't quite do it.
We'll watch it right now as the brakes start to blow cherry red on the 07 car. Gary Smith right back on the loud pedal. It's full power down the back. I should say the front chute into turn number 1. Gary Smith right up behind him. Starting to fade back about a car length now will be the 38 of Butch Gilliland, but still in the chase as we're counting them down. There'll be 12 laps to go at the stripe. Up behind one of the slower cars, they'll go around the back marker and do equal distance, a car length and a half, separate them. Races all over the course, but it's up front for the lead, for the win, for the victory. Sean Woodside cools it down and takes it to turn 1, 188 complete.
Over $62,000 in posted money awards for the Coors Light 200. Sean Woodside onto the outside of the 22 car of Lou Miller. No, excuse me, that's the 22 car back marker of St. James Davis as they clear him now out of turn 4. They'll come back to the stripe. Sean Woodside still with the advantage, and Gary Smith has backed off a little. Perhaps he's cooling off the tires and waiting for that last charge. We're working lap 190, 10 to go, and they come back to the stripe. Perhaps he's saving it for a charge. Just as I say it, here comes Gary Smith. Gary.
Right up behind, a good rotation off of turn number 2. Now he'll dive into turn number 3. Sean Woodside pulls the line, flares up momentarily. Gary goes high too. They'll take it across out of turn number 4. There's traffic ahead. Roy Smith, one of those, and inside he can't cover him. Great run. Gary Smith up the quarter panel, but he could not cover the numbers. He'll drop back into spot number 2. Now he rotates off of turn number 2. A car ahead. Long time for him, so he has to flare outside. Lou Miller, and he'll drop into spot number 2 one more time. Ahead of him is Dad. How does that work into the whole format? We have 9 laps to go. 91 down for the Coors Light 200.
Well, it is Roy Smith just in ahead right now of Sean Woodside. Gary Smith now fades back. He's got better rotation off of 2. Makes the inside charge one more time. Man, he is strong coming off the inside of turn 2. Perhaps that's where he'll make the move. He sets up now right on the back bumper of Sean Woodside's 07 Pontiac. It's Pontiac and Chevrolet. They come back to the stripe. Roy Smith gets the move over flag, stays up high on the track. Sean Woodside. Gary Smith looks to the outside. He is just all over the backside of Sean Woodside as Gary Smith. As Smith looked to try an outside, a little bit different line that time out of turn 2.
Now he rotates all the way up, covers the quarter battle in the numbers, dives into turn number 3, tries to maintain ahead of him again. He spins it, a little tap to go. Sean Woodside all by himself, out comes the yellow.
Gary Smith made contact on the inside walls. He started to spin sideways, saved the car, came back to the inside. We'll look at his car as he comes by. I don't know if he made contact down there against that wall or not, Gary.
Looks like it's caved in just. All right, good report. And he sits in spot number 3. Gathered it back up again in time to run 3rd. And the Pontiac pace car drops off. There will be 4 laps to go at the stripe. We're working lap number 196. It's an all-ahead go shootout. and he scuffed the sidewall on the right rear of 45, they're telling us now, so we will watch that. Should not hinder his run. We'll see if he can get back again, but Sean Woodside powers up. Gary Smith on the outside. Smith grabs spot number 2. Gilliland with a problem. Missed the shift or something happened. The second place cars dropped many off the line. Wow, a problem for Butch Gilliland. Tough break. What an advantage for Gary Smith in that 12-point difference as they go to a championship. Now he'll ride it out across the stripe, and we have 197.
Sean Woodside with the lead, the advantage over Gary Smith. Can he reel him back in with lap 197? Sean Woodside's got a 5-car length advantage right now over Gary Smith. Then the 12 car of Dan Obrist, a terrific run for Dan Obrist.
Transmission problem, as Glenn called it. He's trying to shift. It looks like he lost 4th gear for Butch Gilliland. Now just trying to ride it out, take him out of turn number 4 across the stripe. 198.
198, trying to hang on now. Sean Woodside slid out, that time down in turn 1. His car, the handle coming off that car. And look, here comes Gary Smith down the back stretch, reeling in the leader, Sean Woodside. Unbelievably, he's going to make it a race as they come out of turn 4. They'll head back to the stripe. It'll be Gary Smith trying to take the lead. Bring him home, Gary Cressy.
White flag out by Jackie O'Neill. Down to the stripe, they'll come. 1 to go. Gary Smith looks inside a bubble by Sean. Now he goes wide. He'll try to get that push off of turn number 2. Good rotation. Fires it up right on the back bumper. A car ahead. Now he has to go to the outside. He'll look inside. Doesn't get any better than this. You're at the right race, the right place. You're at Evergreen Speedway, your Coors Light 200. Out of turn number 4. Down to the line. Your winner, Sean Woodside. Gary Smith, holy Toledo, Terry, a beautiful run.
Man, back to the stripe. Dan Obrist will finish along with Scott Gaylord. Here comes Roy Smith across the line, along with Culver and the rest. They get strung out. He made the charge. You know, Gary, he needed 1 more lap. That's what he needed.
Absolutely. The car slowed him on that backstretch. He couldn't make the inside move, but Sean Woodside worked it very well. He just was not the rocket ship at the end. The guy that saved it to the end and ran a ton. Without the spin, it could have been a different finish, but a second place finish. And now with the 38 car dropping a few spots, it could be right there in the ball game. Doing the changing the hats right now, Dave Pyland. Maybe you can find that crew chief and find out he made the right call. We wondered about it, but he certainly did.
Scott.
Back down to you, Scott.
All right, well, we do have the crew chief. He's going around and shaking every one of the crew handlers. Matter of fact, I stuck out my hand. I think he'd shake mine right now. Very happy camper right here. Jeff, you made the call. We talked about it during the race. It had to be a gutsy call.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, the situation, you just got to race the race at 200 laps, and everybody is going to do what they think's good. And I don't know. I had a pretty good teacher who taught me to be smarter than a lot of other people, I guess.
The crew back here giving you a hard time. Those Hoosier tires, though, they really held up well.
Yeah, we had really good tire wear. The Fisher engine ran really good. And, you know, Pontiac came home first. It's finally a time to win. And we finished second too many times. And Ray Claridge and Cinema Vehicles giving us great race cars. And it's just good to win finally. We're a long way from home, but all the fans have been great up here.
All right, the 7th stop of 14. Now you got 7 more to go. Do you think you can get this guy to the championship?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, right now we're back a little bit on points. We've had a couple bad races, but you got to look at the big picture, and we're just going to race to win every race, and hopefully we can.
All right, let's go to Dave Pyland.
Thank you, Scott. I'm with Gary Smith. Gary, right down to the wire. Just couldn't bring it home, huh?
I take my hat off to Sean Woodside. He drove a hell of a race, you know, and me and him become pretty good friends. I got to thank him. I got into him there early in the race, but this Tootsie Toy Rabanco Chevrolet ran so good. I got to thank Bill Strauser, Beverly Strauser. The whole crew did a superb job. And like I say, we come up close. You know, we gave it all we had. Goodyear brought a great tire today. And like I say, I think we can work on it, and we might start kicking Hoosiers' ass here pretty soon. And I got to thank all the Victoria people for coming down. And sorry we didn't win, guys.
That's all right. What a great show by the 45 of Gary Smith.
Good job down there, David. And Gary Smith with a very gallant, and how are you a loser after 200 laps, Terry? I don't think so.
Boy, I'll tell you, what a race. And not only that, but the lead changes. Sean Woodside had to go against Butch Gilliland as they swapped the lead so many times. Then he had to hold off the hard charge, and Gary Smith, not once, but twice.
Certainly did, and it was a great run. And down to Dave Pyland in victory circle.
All right, I've got Dan third out here in this race. Dan, we'll have to face this way. My microphone keeps cutting in and out. But you finished third. Number 12, you had it going. You had to go back to the back of the field and then work your way back up. You had some problems, but a good finish for you.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun out there tonight. It was. I hope the crowd liked it. Just thank my crew. Probably the last time for my crew chief, John Irish. He's going another way, and then Dan Joyner came in and helped us out, and all the rest of the guys here have just been excellent. We've had a good time today, and it's the way to do it.
Well, you sure look good. As he finished third, it's Dan Obrist.